Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the FACEIT Challenger Invitational, sponsored by Alienware, R2G, and also Overwolf. I'm Richard Pauls Cam. Alongside me is James Stress Leary, and we will be getting into the next picks and bans very shortly between the next two teams. Again, and the faculty will be staying on the Rift, this time facing up against
SK Gaming Prime.
SK Gaming.
Kind of little bits and pieces that slip the mind may just be the delirium from Heat, but it's okay. We're here to bring you some awesome League of Legends action, and as you said, N Faculty against SK Gaming Prime coming up very shortly. N Faculty are going to have to regather themselves there a little bit.
Yeah,
it was a bit of a tough loss.
It wasn't a whitewash though. It wasn't, you know, like 20-0, game over at 20 minutes. It was definitely heading that way at 20 minutes, but it wasn't game over, right? So they still had plenty of room to maneuver, plenty of room to come back into the game. So I don't feel like N Faculty will be coming into the second game like, that went terribly. There's no chance that we can even remotely come back into the next game. So I think they have a decent chance. I think, you know, they're not going to be hitting the self-destruct button.
Yeah, I would hope not. That would make it pretty difficult to play this game. But SK Gaming Prime, you brought them up a little bit earlier with, they're a team that on paper should be really strong, but their actual results have kind of been floundering. Yeah,
like we saw it in DreamHack. They obviously went 2-0, well, 0-2 rather, with the 0 coming beforehand, because they got 2-0'd by Reason Gaming. And he came into that game being like, yeah, I think that's a fairly easy matchup, and then we'll have to see how we go into the finals. And that never really happened because they got eliminated and then went from 3rd to 4th place. So we'll see if they can perform better. This is their next outing and their chance to show that they're improved.
Yeah, and as you can see, we are into the picks and bans phase. So let's see what SK Prime will remove first.
Yeah, they're definitely thinking about it. 3 seconds remaining on their first ban. Will they actually ban anything? That's the question.
Yes,
Irelia, at the very last millisecond, it will be Irelia. Panic, guys, we need to ban something. It's going to be Irelia, which was actually the last ban from the last Champion Select.
Yeah, that is...
So more priority on that one.
That is very true. Very, very true indeed. And we've seen a lot of Irelia play, or... Yeah, we have seen a lot of Irelia play in the top lane. Kind of fallen off a little bit recently. There's been a lot of Gragas recently picked up kind of just in every game. But Irelia seems to be just a champion that is overall pretty strong. And if you don't play her, it's kind of better to just ban her out.
Yeah, absolutely. Can become a late game monster. Something that these teams don't want to deal with. Next couple of bans, Lee Sin, Ziggs, Kassadin, and Hecarim. That's an interesting one. I know we've seen lots of different junglers recently. We saw the Riven from Shock. We've seen the Maokai from Cyanide. We've seen Skarner from Gambit Gaming.
Rammus
from Gambit Gaming as well. We've seen a lot of different champions. And because we've had the quill coat changes as well, that new item will not change.
Indeed, and I'm wondering, SK, I had not read that there's a change, and Smitty J is normally the top laner, so I am assuming they're just in the wrong order.
Yep.
That confused me for a second.
Okay. We just got confirmation from production.
There we go. Great. Okay, yeah. I was going to say, I've not been told of a change, but Lucian, as you already alluded to, has been picked up as the first pick, so could be mid, could be AD carry. We saw it in the previous game. Do a very good job in that AD carry role. So, with it, pretty ambiguous right now. They look for the response here out of N Faculty.
And the response will be Evelyn coming out. We saw the Lee Sin, we saw the Elise from last game. They perform the other part of the triad of junglers at the moment, which kind of perform, or most of the junglers that we see at the moment, they're kind of the top 3. Evelyn will be one of the others that came out, followed by Braum and an instant lock-in of Riven. And if the EU LCS has told us anything, that might be in the jungle. Or not, because Amumu has been locked in. So that might be somewhere else, Stress.
Well, that certainly is not the 2 champions I was expecting to be picked up there. And it kind of leaves me to wonder. Because, I mean, in this situation, is that Riven top? Is that Riven mid? I don't think it's going to be Riven jungle with Amumu. Is it a placeholder Amumu? Who
We
knows?
don't know.
I would love to give you analysis on this, but right now there's actually none to be done.
Yeah.
Other than Amumu not commonly played ever since the decline of the Curse of the Sad bullet time, mainly because he just really doesn't have the easiest early game jungle.
Yeah, and because of the Quill Coat introduction, it has introduced other junglers like Nautilus, like Maokai. Haven't seen any Nautilus just yet, but maybe Amumu is the new generation of junglers to come in. The Rammus, of course, didn't really perform that well, and actually pointing to Powerball, which Deficio was actually saying is not the right way to go, but happened anyway. So maybe he has perfected the strategy, but it's definitely not something that I've seen in recent competitive play. Anyway, Lulu, Kog'Maw once again locked in. So Cedrian, even though after that last performance, didn't feel like the Kog'Maw was the reason why they came out of that game behind and has locked it in again. This is a very similar comp to what they were running last time.
It is. It's a very consistent comp, though. I mean, protect the Kog'Maw compositions, really just have one goal. And do that kind of well. But if you fall behind, like M Faculty did, very difficult to get back into things. And you saw that happen in the last game. The Games 2 just had too much of a lead. And this pretty much just M Faculty kind of crumbled. A lot of that was to do with the pressure that JRO was outputting in that top lane. So if they don't lose so much in the top lane again, then, they might be in good standing. But if that is a Riven top, or maybe not now that Nidalee has been locked in, it could be a repeat of the last game.
So we were like, okay, we'll wait for the last couple of picks. That will shine some light on this champion select. And so you just raise more questions with the last couple of picks.
Yeah.
So what are we looking for? Zyra has been thrown in the support role. Got the Lucian as well. So I think that makes more sense, but it definitely shows that the Amumu is probably going to be in the jungle. Definitely not the Riven.
Yeah, and then I would kind of imagine that Riven Riven mid, maybe. But I don't like that against most mid laners right now. Most mid laners are very poke heavy, longer range, very consistent champion. So we haven't seen too much Nidalee mid recently. Seen it more in the top lane. It is still possible to play Nidalee in the mid lane, but it's very different from the old Nidalee mid. Again, I'm just kind of back and forth, and I feel like N Faculty are in a very similar situation. That they're wondering what they wanted to pick.
And they actually lock in a top laner, and that will be going on to Prombo. Again, these guys are out of order. So Prombo is still in the top lane. He hasn't just swapped to jungle after the last game. It's just like, all right, guys, that didn't work out. I'm going to swap to jungle role, and we'll see how it goes. But no, he will still be in top lane. And they actually throw the Lulu in the mid lane this time, which is not what they did last time. It didn't really work out.
Okay, so a placeholder may have been locked in here. I'm assuming Amumu is the placeholder there for Elise would make the most amount of sense.
Right.
So for those of you at home that maybe aren't familiar with placeholders, so if playing on live you don't have every single champion, you pick a champion that you don't have. Actually, that would not make sense because it's Kikis that locked it in. Kikis has Elise. And essentially you'll go back to the lobby and then remake, but they haven't done it, and the times are about to expire. I was going to say, Kikis has Elise. I can tell you that for a fact.
I'd be surprised if he didn't have it.
Hey,
being,
guys.
One of the top junglers in Europe. And it's like, oh, by the way, I don't own Elise. I can only do two of the top junglers at the moment, just Lee Sin and Evelyn.
It's okay. She's not been that strong for that long.
Yeah.
I mean,
only for a couple
only
seasons.
since release.
We don't know.
It
but
got locked in.
It got locked in, and the game is starting, so it's fairly unlikely they'd restart now. So Pickers going for a very different style of play, and Elise wasn't even banned out. She was available for picking. Evelyn was picked up and clearly prioritized by N Faculty.
This is not what's going on. I've just realized SK Prime are running Lucian on What the Fox. Heydal is running Nidalee.
Interesting. Let's break down this composition with Nidalee AD carry. So either they're throwing a massive curveball here, because Walter Fox, of course, is the mid laner. He's currently sitting in the top slot, but he is the mid laner, one of the big playmakers from SK Gaming Prime. And Lucian, we've seen, can be thrown in the mid lane, does very well. But then they're lacking an AD carry. And Ziz, of course, is Heydal renamed to his new name of Ziz. And his support of Zaitan will be joining him, have been together for a little while now.
You
And
say
he'll
AD
be supporting Nidalee. And there's been, no change. Like, they haven't gone back to team select, so this is legitimate.
I don't understand this. I'm very confused.
Yeah. Well, we can only really theorycraft about it. We can only really predict what's going to happen in this game, because AD carry-wise, you'll still have the Lucian, so you'll still have the output of AD damage. The question is what Nidalee is going to be doing, because Nidalee, last game we saw in the top lane, will be building AD damage and then becomes a very strong split pusher. Will she do the same thing in this game? Where's everyone going to go?
I mean, I kind of feel like they're underestimating in faculty, which is what we alluded to earlier with what Ninjas in Pyjamas did at DreamHack and lost because they just picked, let's just pick a fun comp. No. Don't do that.
Didn't work. No.
Don't do that.
Faculty will punish you for that. And that was everyone on the, kind of signature champions. You had Freeze on Draven, had Ku on Lee Sin. Everyone was in the prime, but didn't work out. So, this might be what Faculty are looking for to pick up a game in the group stages.
Yeah, because their composition is pretty much cut and dry here. It's, a protect the Kog'Maw composition. You've got Evelyn to cut an angle there. It's maybe a little bit less so protect the Kog'Maw with respect to you don't have Lulu in the top lane. You don't have Orianna for an extra shield and shockwave, but it's still very strong, and I'm saying Orianna. I can't remember what the mid laner was for Faculty.
Yeah, last game was Orianna.
I mean, in this game,
This game was Lulu, and they threw the Renekton in top lane.
Yes, that is right.
Yeah.
Yeah. That Riven Amumu Nidalee on Haydal has
Definitely
completely
a
thrown
curveball.
me.
Yeah.
My brain, I'm trying to figure out how this is going to go.
Yeah. I mean, time will tell. Just got to play it by ear. It's not something that I don't think many people have seen, honestly. It's not a composition that has been shown.
There we go. We're loading into game.
Yeah, we are indeed. So how's this going to work out? Amumu, one of the biggest problems with him back in the olden days was that he was very prone to just being shut down. In the early game, he loses his blue buff. He's down for the count, honestly. He can't really catch back up again unless he gets a good couple ganks off. So that will be very difficult to deal with. And with a very strong early game from Faculty, we may even see them go for the invade. And this could spark some early game action as well. Zyra, that was indeed him, and Ziz as well with the Nidalee. And we are into game with Faculty, this time swapping up to the red team in the upper right. And SK Gaming Prime now coming into this game with definitely some oddball picks coming out here, Stress.
Yeah, to say the least. We didn't get notified of any kind of, roster position changes. Haydal's played AD carry for so long that I'm not expecting him to swap from doing that anytime soon. So unless we missed the memo, SK kind of just having, I don't want to say having fun because I don't want to think that they're not taking it seriously, but it's certainly nothing standard out of SK Prime here at all.
We've seen some significant changes from lots of different teams in terms of some of the jungle picks more than anything. We haven't seen anything as drastic as this, but I can definitely see it working out. I mean, they have all the components of a standard composition, right? They have a Nidalee that could be thrown in the top lane. We have a Riven that could be thrown in the mid lane, but instead they've kind of just thrown everything up in the air and everything's landed in different places.
Yeah, I think that's probably the best way of putting it. You spoke a little bit about Amumu. Typically, the whole having his blue stolen away, that was very, very, very true in Season 2. A little bit less true recently in Season 3, Season 4, ever since, the spirit items. They provide a little bit more mana from the camp. Still makes it difficult for him. Don't get me wrong, it still is a big thing to take away from him. But we've seen fewer and fewer invades anyway, so I think if there was a time where you were going to pick a champion like Amumu, it's going to be now. This return of the tank later game jungler who provides that bit more of a crowd control role rather than a damage role.
It's funny as well because we've seen Kikis in so many different teams. I believe an interesting stat was he's been in 21 different teams in 21 months.
Wow.
That was actually mentioned on the EU Challenger Series.
Okay.
So, hopping on into many different lineups, Ziz in the top lane, Haydal. Long-time AD carry, and he will be sporting the Nidalee right here. Has started with the Doran's Blade. unlikely he'll just go for an AD carry build, but you never know, because you're kind of bringing yourself in melee range, and that's one of the reasons why Quinn is not an amazing pick. It's like, I'm an AD carry, I'm very squishy. I'm going to bring myself into melee range of your Bruces.
Yeah, that's a really tricky kind of way to play, and that's why I'm a little bit confused at this Nidalee pick here, is that, I mean, it's actually a very good comparison to Quinn. Because, I mean, the ultimate pretty much does the same job. Turns you into melee champion rather than, you know, a ranged. And that's one of the difficulties, and that is actually a very apt kind of description. Yeah, I like that.
Thank you very much.
But I think Nidalee is actually a lot more useful than Quinn would be, because you have a heal, you have a lot more reliable escape. I'm really struggling to see what the build is going to be, though.
SK Gaming Prime rocking the boat when it comes into the meta right now. Mountain going to be blocking up those auto attacks. Has the Hunted passive on him, which is a new passive coming out from Ziz. Meanwhile, in the mid lane, what the fuck's putting down the hurt onto Siggy. Jumps back in, tries to secure that first blood, but we do have the counter gank comes in from Evelyn, and then counter gank by Kickers, who lands a perfect bandage toss, gets the first blood. Double buffs on both of these junglers. Kickers will get away. He's ticking down with the red buff, but unable to finish off the kill. So first blood goes to SK Gaming Prime, 1-0, but Bromber actually takes down Smitty J in the top lane. He dies himself for a 1-4-1. Did die to minions in the top lane. Bot lane, however, Mountain will be aggressing forwards, gets the Unbreakable. Winter's Bite onto Zaitan will be keeping in place, forces to flash out, but Ziz jumps back in using that ultimate. Will get the pounce forwards, but had already utilized the Hunted passive, so can't do that again with his W.
Oh man, there was so much damage in the bottom lane, though, that came from Adal as soon as he got into melee range. And I guess against a champion like Kog'Maw, who has no innate escape, actually, if Kog'Maw pushes too far forward, you can punish him very heavily in that kind of situation. So there we saw that bottom lane kind of working out for SK. And middle lane, that perfect flash into bandage toss out of Kikis. And if that hadn't have landed, that's a massive, massive cooldown for an Amumu. Very much so like blue buff, and Amumu without an escape is pretty much just easy pickings.
Yeah, 2-1, 7,000 goals. Significant gold advantage in this game. Only a couple minutes in. Definitely giving the edge to some of these lanes. What the fuck's looking to deal some damage to Sigu. Just gets the double tap. Kick is unable to land the second perfect bandage toss. Already landed the first. I think he can say that was a job well done. Pat himself on the back, but making sure his presence is still in the mid lane, knowing that Evelyn is still going to be there. Lots of presence put down, lots of pressure exerted by both of these junglers. Sigu takes some more hits, but has been polymorphed. Now Zerv comes in, will have enough damage. Last auto attack, the hate spikes raining down. Sigu picks up a kill in return, bringing it to 2-2. Kickers will be filling in the flanks in mid lane.
And Faculty, very rightfully so, recognizing the amount of damage in mid, but it's bottom.
Has been caught out. Ziz did jump forward. Zaitan is ticking down the mountain. Does he have enough damage? The answer is no. Ziz comes forward. Zaitan picks up the kill. Cedrian managed to sidestep that javelin toss, but another kill goes to SK Game Prime. Lots of action in this early game.
Yeah, the bottom lane really is working, and actually from the side.
Evelyn from nowhere will get a passive across, maybe giving enough damage for Ziz to finish him off. Cedrian will be returning some damage. Let's get the last auto attack, jumps into the bush, cuts the vision, turns around, gets the swipe, gets the takedown, and jumps away. Icapian surprise, doesn't even connect. Ziz, what a playmaker. And this has got to be a premeditated pick. He's way too good of Nidalee for this to be spur of the moment.
Yeah, it's actually looking like it was premeditated. That's very, very true. In top lane, we'll see Pronbear flash.
Man, there's too much action. Pronbear takes the last auto attack, the last tower shot, and Smitty J secures the kill. So aggressive, trying to get something done while the rest of the team flounders.
Yeah, and we joined that right as Pronbear was under the Riven, who is going to be able to stun you, have a shield, and land the damage as well. There is just so much damage overall on this SK team, and Faculty are getting baited into fights so often that they're just ending up losing. And I feel like What the Fox has kind of read that Evelyn's here, but his positioning is a little bit greedy, and this is one of the problems with mid Lucians is you are so good in lane, you can get overconfident because of how much damage you're putting down.
It's kind of the same thing with Yasuo. You jump forwards with the sweeping blade, gets those extra Tapper champion, dash out of the relentless pursuit. 6 and 3. That was not a kill secured by the jungler from Faculty. We'll be picking up the second wave of buffs.
There's one thing actually that this composition by SK is allowing them to do, and that's give the second blue buff to a Mumu. Because Lucian does not need the second blue buff in that middle lane. You can see that Sigu has had to pick that up just to give him the respite in lane. Lucian, however, can dominate the lane with just auto attacks and very sparse abilities just on their own. So it's able to give Kikis that little bit more comfortability in the jungle.
And we'll mean he is level 7, has the ultimate available if he wants to use it. The Curse of the Sad Mummy. Dominus is available from Prombear though, so this might be a risky dive, and Smitty J already utilized his own ultimate. There's the Curse of Sad Mummy, will be tanking up the tower, and Prombear just drops like a rock. Instantly dies.
And the thing about Curse of the Sad Mummy is you can activate abilities while locked down by it. It is not a full-on stun. Oh, Smitty J actually picking up a kill onto Evelyn as well in that top lane. Apologies for missing that. So he died with Dominus available.
This is, I want to say, the second or third time that Evelyn's just appeared in the lane and then died. What the Fox comes in though, 1 versus 1 against Sigu. He is winning out, but he will be jumping back in with the flash. Oh, it's probably not the right decision making right there, and Sigu will punish him for it.
Okay, so you don't need blue buff, but if you're going to flash, make sure you got the mana from being in lane.
I'm going to burst you with my no mana, and therefore I don't really have burst, I just have auto attacks, and yeah. That's very simple.
Well, I mean, that's the nature of the passive, is you need to have used an ability to get the Light Slinger. If you don't have the Light Slinger, you're missing so much of your damage, and in the early ranks, the Relentless Pursuit is a pretty high cooldown before you get to cooldown reduction, so we'll look at the build path of Lucian in a little bit, but it's actually triple longsword, double Dorans right now. And that's a lot of early game damage, but I mean, I'm guessing it's going to go towards the Brutalizer, into the Ghost Blade, into probably kind of something from a Vamp Scepter. That typically is where we see the triple door and the triple longsword builds go. Looks like it was only a short pause, and we are going to be ready to get back into the game.
Yeah, Kick is just disconnected, reconnected, and we'll be getting back underway, but the Glacial Fizzer right out of that pause. Great! Agnes Embrace and the rest of the combo just secures a very easy kill for Faculty. Do get that pick, burn the ultimate, but they picked up the kill.
Oh man, Kick is having to whoa, Smitty J again, top lane.
He's too fast with those kills.
Too fast. It also doesn't help, and I'm not making excuses, but top lane is not on the normal hotkeys for top lane.
That's true. That actually isn't helping at all. These guys have actually shifted around, so...
It's one of the reasons why you ask players to line up in the respective roles. Because I'm thinking, who's dying? Okay, gotta press... Yeah, it's okay, though. I'm gonna be used to it now.
Yeah, and Evelyn, what isn't used to is continually getting caught. And once again, Curse of the Sad Mummy will get the Wild Growth, though, and the extra shielding from Help Picks, but what the fuck's now coming in. We'll get the Ardent Blaze to follow up the double tap, looking for the second double tap. Can't quite stick to him as he flashes over the wall. But even the Mumu showing he can 1v1 the opposing jungler with Evelyn.
Yeah, and that's not too often that you see that. Spectral Wraith has been finished on him as well. And you saw that Sigu didn't even want to trade with What the Fox, even though he's got a Seeker's Arm Guard. And typically that's, you know, it's going to offset Lulu's build considerably right now. It forces her defensive item first. But, ooh, there's a fight around Dragon.
And Zaitan has been caught. Concussive blows, it comes to fruition. We'll get the proc off, and that one needs one more auto attack from any member of the team. Will not be getting that. The flash comes forwards. Living Artillery gets the final blow. Prombear comes forwards, gets the slice, doesn't connect onto anyone and get the dice. And still getting used to Renekton's model size. Definitely a small crocodile until he pops the dominance. But Dragon now starts up by Faculty. They do have the advantage, 5 versus 4.
Yeah, that's... It's very true about the model size, but the Dragon is actually going to go down to Kickers.
And Kickers will be taking that away. Now returns with a kill. That'll also be Prombear dropping in the fray. Smitty now looking to secure the rest of the kills. Cedrian is kiting back with Sigu surely going to fall. Evelyn cut off from the pack, trying to be the sacrificial lamb, but what the fox, you cannot get away from him. Sticks to you like glue. Cedrian auto-tracks a minion, takes the Ardent Blaze, Relentless Pursuit, and bans us so close, but it doesn't matter. The piercing light onto a minion will get the tag. Gets the ace, in fact, at only 12 minutes into the game.
And you could see there what the Fox has played enough Lucian to know exactly what he was doing. Could have chosen to double tap the minion to get the reduced cooldown, but knew that he could line up the Q there, make sure he could get the kill with that. And that's the sign of a very comfortable player. That you don't go for the immediate option. You've already got it in your mind, the play that you exactly need to make. But Smitty J has to be careful.
He has been caught out by Prom there. Mountain is there as well. Just managed to get it concussive below stacks, but won't be able to get it all the way. Zerv as well at the back lines will be dishing out some damage. 1 kill so far to SK Gaming Prime, but the kill and return onto Zaitan. Kickers now comes into the fight, gets a great curse of the Sad Mummy. Smitty J doesn't have enough damage. Kickers does by himself. Also with Ziz chiming over those auto attacks. Last auto attack as well, looking for the takedown. Another fantastic balance toss will keep him in place and secure yet another kill and a double for Ziz.
Oh man, SK Prime are completely running away with this very unorthodox composition. Another byproduct of Kikis' Curse of the Sad Mummy is it allows Hadal to just jump in, pick his target, and get all the damage he wants, and then jump all the way back out of the fight. It is such a good lockdown ability there that you saw, and actually looks like Cedrian was looking to chase, but he's being caught out.
He has, and Ziz are just going to town, and What the Fox comes in with a double tap. Ziz will be getting away, well, not getting away with the pounce. There we go. We'll take the Catherine surprise, but bit of true damage. I was going to say didn't hurt anyone, but did kind of knock his health total down. We'll be able to heal that back up with
He'll
his
get
E.
it.
He'll be fine with the Primal Surge.
Yeah, it's all alright, and very rightly so. It is the, for now, standard Riven,
Standard driven.
Standard Nidalee build. I mean, I don't know whether it's standard for Nidalee bot, but we'll see that.
Perhaps a standard dead crocodile in the top jungle. Prombear is ticking down from the Ignite. Zerv is there. Will be getting the shutdown. That going to Sigu. Will be kept in place by the grasping plant. Zaitan will be backing off a great grassing root. Won't lock down Mountain in place, but now What the Fox has entered the fight. Will be getting the odds in blaze. Doesn't quite tag him, but gets the double tap. Very maneuverable. Culling comes through. Locks him in place. Zaitan on the ball this game. Keeps him in place, and the Culling picks up the kill. No, it doesn't. Actually went to Zaitan. Zaitan will be picking up the next kill. 19-9 though. Kill after kill. SK Gaming Prime, as you mentioned, just running away with this game.
Interesting that we're not seeing the immediate cooldown reduction build out of What the Fox. A lot of the mid lane Lucians have been rushing as early as possible to get the additional cooldown reduction from items like the Ghostblade, like the Boots of Lucidity. But he's actually opting for a Blade of the Ruin King.
Glacial Fissure locks up Zaitan, but Kickers from the side. He is already reading from the same hymn. She gets the ultimate, gets the cuts to the Sad Mummy. Double kill comes in. Ziz now enters the fight, but everyone is already dead. And he will just carry on sieging the mid lane. 15 minutes into this game, and they're well on their way to taking an inhibitor turret.
I'm thinking they may even get this. I'm kind of confident they will.
Yeah, and they may just get Sigu first before that. Ziz just get locked up with the Voidoos, but they're taking down the middle inhibitor turret so very quickly, not even at the stage in the game where you could theoretically surrender. Cedrian trying to deal as much damage as he can, but his ally just evaporates. Sigu manages to get over the wall, but he falls first. Sigu, oh, he's able to defend himself. And Smitty J may be caught out, will get tagged by the Caffeine Surprise, and they get a consolation prize in the form of a kill. But they lost their middle inhibitor turret for it. Now, Evelyn coming in from the side. Another shutdown onto What the Fox. So, gold flowing in the opposite direction. Out an exposed inhibitor. I'm not entirely sure if it was too worth.
Yeah, I'm not too sure exactly what the Fox was doing there, but he gives his life, and man, that's a 2-7 Renekton. It's not a very normal situation for Pronbear to be in. As Renekton, typically one of the more consistent top laners, right now just is struggling against that Riven top. And kind of that's the nature of Riven, is you either snowball or you get dumpstered. Pretty much that's how it goes.
Those are the two categories which kind of come up most in Riven games. This is one of those games where he's snowballing quite well.
You never see a middle-of-the-road Riven game where it's like, yeah, Riven did okay.
He did moderately okay. He's offering a little bit to his team. Kind of doing all right. Ziz is doing very okay. Actually, maybe more aggressive than I was expecting him to be, considering Sigu was in better shape when it came to life totals. But Ziz goes back to farming. And in the quote-unquote AD carry role, he's been doing very well. His farm is actually not too bad. He's gone for the Trinity Force, so a build very similar to what we saw from the top lane in Italy. And in the mid lane, a build very similar to what you'd see from an AD carry Lucian, who has just managed to tap the Evelyn, gets the culling. Does quite a lot of damage to the walls, but nothing very much else from there. Maybe dropping. Kickers gets the flash, goes for the bandage toss, doesn't manage to connect it. What the fucks, meanwhile, will be finishing off Evelyn in the background. Sigu does find Kickers, who's going 1 versus 3, gets the Cursor Sad Mummy onto 3, but maybe in no man's land and will be taken down. Too aggressive. Smithy J didn't give him and buy him enough time to go for the top turret. Really getting a little bit overzealous now.
Yeah, a little bit overzealous, I think.
Or
It's a
maybe
little
not.
understatement.
Because Sigu will be dropping in the jungle. Got the kill. It's like, okay, maybe I can go into my own jungle. Nope. There is a chance of rain and a chance of pain when you enter your own jungle from the team of N Faculty. Unable to even get any ground in this game.
Apparently on the caster list, there's a chance of Dr. Seuss.
And there's a chance of dead crocodile in the bot jungle as well. Goodbye, Prombear. Welcome to 2 and 8 2-town.
It's not a good place to be.
It's not.
And Smitty J is just dominating this lane. They're going to push in, actually past it. Cedrian dropped very low.
A bit aggressive, going 1 versus 4 under the double Nexus turrets inside the enemy base at 18 minutes. But did buy Ziz enough time to deal some damage to the middle inhibitor turret, but maybe just toying with their food at the moment, you have to feel from SK Prime.
Yeah, it feels like SK may be anticipating a surrender vote in a minute's time. The way they're pressuring out this inhibitor, the gold lead as well is just insane. It's, I mean, nearly 1,000 gold for every minute past the actual minion spawn timer.
Yeah, it's devolved into a free-for-all at the moment as this goes right into the thick of it. The ultimate comes through from Mountain. We'll be locking up Kickers, but maybe he regrets his decision. Not really what you want to be engaging on. We'll be dropping immediately. And the culling comes through. Attacks the rest of the team, who promptly back away and cower and hide at their Nexus.
It's pretty much all said and done here. There's not a lot to be said. Curse the sad mummy.
And this looks like the last fight from N Faculty. Cedric will be dropping Ziz, the theoretical AD carry of this game, diving both of the Nexus turrets. Will be shut down eventually, but 4 kills to 2 coming out well ahead in that trade. What the fuck? Will be ripping apart the Nexus turrets, and it just feels like a matter of time before this game has the curtains falling down. 30-16, massive goal differential, 7-0. In this game, definitely more one-sided than the first. That's the second Nexus turret falling. It will be Zerv heading back to his Nexus turret. Sigu as well, kind of running around in circles, accepting their fate as the Nexus turret plummets in HP numbers. Prombear though, nope, they just surrender. That will be the end of that game. Bit of anticlimactic, but SK Gaming Prime, very decisive. 20 minutes and 13 seconds. One more second, it would have been 2014.
Oh,
Not calculating. Practiced. Like, we saw the mechanics from those players. Clearly strong of those champions,
yeah,
but not something we've seen before.
I'm wondering what led SK in Picks and Bans to actually lock that in. I mean, was it that they wanted to play Riven and then just wanted to avoid Renekton? I'm trying to think about... No, because Renekton was the last pick.
Yeah.
So it looks like they just wanted to run that comp.
Yeah, I guess so. They were either of those champions, and I guess we'll just throw a Mumu in for, the heck of it. And it worked out very well. 20 minutes, can't argue with the facts.
Yeah, can't argue with the results. That's for certain, because that was a very one-sided game. That was not really a pretty sight if you're an N-Faculty fan. But I don't want to say that concludes the action, because it doesn't. But as for our group stages for the day, that is us done. But we do have a very special feature presentation coming up later. It's not actually a movie, but it's
it's not. It's not even a presentation either, really. It's a show match. But we do have Team Alternate facing down playing Ducks. You may know Team Alternate as their previous lineup, or their previous name rather, was Tick, Trick, and Duck. So we're going to be making sure to duck in this game, and we will be ducking off the screen very shortly. Sorry for that.
It's
But we
okay.
will be jumping to a quick break. And when we get back, we'll be underway with the show match of today. But make sure to tune in tomorrow as well for the rest of the group stages. 4 games coming up tomorrow. That'll be the end of groups, and then playoffs will be commencing on Sunday. We'll see you soon.